computer. Hare Krishna. All right, so let's offer some prayers to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatada Sataline. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so any memories or reflections from yesterday's reading on the verse Namam Tiskatana Mutta Papajanti Naradamaha? That's text chapter 7, text 14, I think. Let's have a look. Text 15.
4 types of miscreants.
Yeah, 4 types of miscreants. Can anyone remember particular what are those 4 types?
The first one is Mutha.
Yeah, first one is Mutta. So who is a Mutta? What's the general description of a Mutta, as Prabhupada describes? He gave an example of an animal.
He walks too much.
Yeah, works too much, just like an ass. He gave the example. Yeah, without understanding the higher, or without understanding the higher needs in life. There's no spiritual inquiry. There's no curiosity of the meaning of life. One is just satisfied with filling the stomach, and perhaps, Prabhupada describes satisfying his sex appetite. Yeah. He described, Sukadev Goswami describes that also when he begins to speak in the 2nd canto. He describes like that simply. There's a few verses there where he speaks about the gross materialist who has they're just interested in working hard in a day to make money, and then sleeping or sex at night, and that's it. So basically animal existence. Yeah, that's Mutta. So quite strong words from Prabhupada in the purple, but that's because it's quite strong words from Krishna. Yeah, it's Krishna saying this. So 4 types of persons who do not generally turn towards God. They don't turn towards Allah. They don't turn towards Jehovah. They don't turn towards Krishna. They don't turn towards Buddha. They're completely, grossly materialistic. Yeah. So that's Mudha. So the other category, there's only a few of us here yesterday. Huh?
Next is Naradhama.
Is it Naradhama? Yeah, Duskriti. The next class of Duskriti is Naradhama. So anyone can give us a little insight into the Naradhama? Naradhama means they're not interested in Dharma, as far as I can understand. Otherwise, I can give a little synopsis here. Yeah, so these persons lead a somewhat regulated, civilized, if we want to call it that. They have some social, political, and even Prabhupada said religious life. But they have, well, actually they're socially and political developed, but they don't abide to any religious principles. They don't care for any religious principles. So that's secular society. Yeah, interesting. India is officially declares itself as being a secular society, which is quite interesting. It's a place of Dharma, but the government proclaims to be a secular society where they don't wish to be governed ultimately by religious principles. As Kali Yuga. Yeah, so that's Duskriti. Yeah, so they're Duskriti, or they're Naradhamas, excuse me. Yeah. And Prabhupada says a few more things about them. Yeah. And Prabhupada spends quite a bit of the purport speaking about the Naradhamas. Although everyone has a natural relationship and dependence upon Krishna, that's a natural instinct. Yeah, but they do not follow this natural instinct of feeling dependence upon God. Yeah, they're lost in so-called civilized, so-called civilized society. And then he gives, okay, we'll just skip a little. Number 3 is
Maya Hritagyan.
yeah,
Maya Pahritagyan.
yeah, Kana. Interesting to look at the Sanskrit definition of this word, Maya Prita Kana. So something about the Maya Prita Ganas.
Their knowledge is covered.
Yeah, thank you, Babaluji. Their knowledge is covered, but their knowledge has been stolen by the thief of speculation. Yeah, their real spiritual sense has been stolen. Yeah, by speculative theories. Yeah. So Prabhupada just looking here. Yeah. This alive person. Prabhupada has issue with them giving screwing out a different meaning of the Bhagavad Gita, or even more seriously, that they deride the personality of Krishna, which means they purposely try to describing him of not being a person at all. As we know, this is Mayapur philosophy. Yeah. And also, Prabhupada mentions that, you read some of these, even here, some of these philosophers or these so-called religionists in their presentation, and they speak very lofty words. They sound very intelligent. Yeah. But their intelligence is in use, but it's been stolen away by the enemy. As we could say, as the Christians might say, it's been stolen by the devil. So they come up with all types of wonderful atheistic, Mayavadic philosophies, And some of these people, there's some of them they can they have these conferences or they give these lectures, and they can sell out stadiums of 10,000 people coming to hear their atheistic philosophy, each paying about £50 or more. Yeah. So they are bewildered and they bewilder others. So just remembering as this progression goes from 1 to 4, it gets worse. So this third one is considered to be worse than the previous 2. Yeah. At least the third one, the Mudas, are not standing up deriding God. They're not, trying to turn people away from worship of God. They can't be bothered. They just want to get fed. They just want to work hard and satisfy their senses. They're not bothered. But these persons are on a campaign against God. And it's very prominent today in our atheistic society. Where persons, you might meet persons in your own family or your own circle of friends in the place where you work, where you might meet some persons who are outwardly antagonistic towards the concept of God. I've met quite a few on the book distribution, and some even come to the temple in order to express their atheistic ideas. All right, that's number 3, and then the worst of the lot is number 4. And that is, Mavalogia, you can tell us.
Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha.
Yeah, Ashuram Pavam Ashrataha. I think I just mentioned these actually. I've kind of gone over a bit. These persons are openly atheistic. In other words, actually they're considered to be Asurim, Asuras, which means they're not Surya, they're Asura. They're the opposite of demigods. They actually could be called demons. Yeah. And they refuse to acknowledge anything to do with surrender. Yeah. So just looking here. Yeah. Prabhupada doesn't, there's only two paragraphs Prabhupada mentions Asurim Bhavam Ashrataha. Yeah. All right, so that's the grossly foolish. These are persons who do not surrender to God in any way, shape, or form. The grossly foolish persons, the lowest of mankind, the deluded speculators, and the professed atheists that Prabhupada mentions at the end. And yeah, so now in text 16, we're going to turn to those who are pious. And this is a difference, that everyone in this world meets with the miseries of material existence, but the impious persons do not take shelter of God, again, in any way, shape, or form. But these persons, by dint of some contact in a previous life, they are known as pious. And they, although they're materially motivated, the fact that they come to Krishna is to their credit. All right, they're not coming out of pure love, they're coming to receive something from Krishna, but still they're considered to be pious and they're better situated. All right, so that brings us to the verse then, 7:16. So if anyone would like to read, please go ahead, and we'll look at this. We'll look at the 4 types of persons.
Prabhu, are you going to share the Gita on the screen today?
Hey, thank you. Yes, I am. I'm doing it right now. Hare Krishna, share. Thank you.
I can read once I see the text.
There it is. Hare Krishna.
Text 16? Yeah. Chaturvida bhajante mam janasu kirtino arjuna arto jignasur artarti gyani cha bharatar sabha. O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Unlike the miscreants, these are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, and they are called Sukirtina, or those who obey the rules and regulations of scriptures, the moral and social laws, and are more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. Out of these, there are 4 classes of men: those who are sometimes distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are sometimes inquisitive, and those who are sometimes searching after knowledge of the absolute truth. These persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service under different conditions. These are not pure devotees because they have some aspiration to fulfill in exchange for devotional service. Pure devotional service is without aspiration and without desire for material profit. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 defines pure devotion thus: Aniya bilasita sunyam gana kamardi anarvitam anukulyana Krishna so silanam bhaktir uttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. When these 4 kinds of persons come to the Supreme Lord for devotional service and are completely purified by the association of a pure devotee, they also become pure devotees. As far as the miscreants are concerned, for them devotional service is very difficult because their lives are selfish, irregular, and without spiritual goals. But even some of them, by chance, when they come in contact with a pure devotee, also become pure devotees. Those who are always busy with fruitive activities come to the Lord in material distress, and at that time associate with pure devotees and become, in their distress, devotees of the Lord. Those who are simply frustrated also come sometimes to associate with the pure devotees and become inquisitive to know about God. Similarly, when the dry philosophers are frustrated in every field of knowledge, they sometimes want to learn of God, and they come to the Supreme Lord to render devotional service and thus transcend knowledge of the impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma, and come to the personal conception of Godhead by the grace of the Supreme Lord or his pure devotee. On the whole, when the distressed, the inquisitive, the seekers of knowledge, and those who are in need of money are free from all material desires, And when they fully understand that material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement, they become pure devotees. As long as such a purified stage is not attained, devotees in transcendental service to the Lord are tainted with fruitive activities, the search for knowledge, etc. So one has to transcend all this before one can come to the stage of pure devotional service.
Okay, thank you. So there's quite a bit here in the sense that what's being described actually is pure devotional service. Prabhupada is describing, and he quotes this verse here. And yeah, this is from the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So we can get some understanding of what pure devotion is. Now, probably all of us who have taken to Krishna consciousness, we are coming from one of these four categories. Yeah. The most popular one, what's the most popular one for coming to Krishna? I don't know if popular is the right word, but the most common one, generally.
Distress.
Distress, yeah.
Distress.
Yeah.
Curious.
Sorry?
Curious.
Curious, sorry, you say curious, sir. Who's this? This is not Mama Lawanga. Who's that? Is that?
Oh, sorry, Prabhu. Sorry, it is me,
My
Nita
mother.
Mata.
Okay.
I forgot to change. Sorry. My
Okay.
God.
Curious, yeah, that's one. But generally, devotees are quite
Distress.
adept at describing their life before they came. Often it's one of distress. But actually, there are some who were philosophically searching as well. I haven't met many who, at least on the gross, in the gross understanding, are coming to Krishna for money. Yeah, but sometimes that can be money means, or wealth means like some type of security, some type of or wanting to be in a society or with a group of people where one understands they're going to be taken care of materially. So they're not coming exactly to become rich, but they're coming in order the faith that their life will be maintained if they come to Krishna. Yeah, because they come to the temple, they see the society of devotees, and at least to a large extent, devotees, hopefully to a large extent, they are not living in abject poverty. Yeah, they have a roof, they have a house, they have something to eat, and they have a nice social scene, so to speak. So persons are attracted to that. Yeah, so not coming to get 10 bars of gold. Although there are some people who do come. There's mainly, this is the coming for wealth is generally you're going to see the pious Indian person who basically knows that if they pray to the gods, then they can get some money. Yeah. Sometimes we meet persons like that, and you can tell, because we're not, we don't, it's not as if we have on our reception, no one's allowed to enter the temple unless you have pure motivation. We let anyone come in. And sometimes the dears say, I have come to pray to the gods. And they're coming for praying for wealth, for success in business. Yeah. And we have one example. So I'm going on a bit now, but we have one example of a very wealthy man who comes to our temple. Most of you know. Perhaps Nobunaga perhaps doesn't know. We have one of the wealthiest Indians on the planet. Yeah, one of the wealthiest. He's got a private plane. Very wealthy. His house here in London is worth £50 million. And he first came for wealth. He came because he was starting a business, and he was praying to Krishna that he can be successful in his business. Yeah, and Krishna definitely answered his prayers. That's for sure. And now he's he's a devoted person, and he gives quite a bit, I would say. He could give a lot more. We can't complain. He gives quite a bit to the temple. So his reason for coming has changed somewhat, and he's very appreciative of Krishna for what he has, like that. And so anyone could, in the scriptures, it's described, there's 4 in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's examples of these 4. Most
Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj.
let's start with the distressed first.
Okay.
Who was distressed and came to Krishna?
Draupadi.
Draupadi.
Draupadi did, but that's not the example that's given by Arupa Goswami. Well, she,
Gajendra?
yeah,
Gajendra. Yeah.
Gajendra.
yeah, Gajendra
Gajendra.
Mokshana. Yeah,
Mm.
he was an elephant. He was King Indradyumna Maharaj in his previous life, and he treated a sadhu not so respectfully. Anyone know what he did? Something with a garland, wasn't it? He didn't. Something he was unconsciously or someone other. He added. No, I think if I've got it correct, one sadhu gave him a garland or something like that, and he took the garland off and gave it to an elephant or something, and the elephant just trod on it. Anyway, actually, I'm just speculating. I better look at that.
Yeah, I've heard that story. Yeah.
Yeah, so something like that.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
sadhu cursed him because you didn't treat a sadhu with respect. Out of the principle, you can become a dull elephant. Yeah, because elephants are known to be not so intelligent, although they got some intelligence. That's for sure, more than some animals. But they're not exactly philosophers. So, yeah, someone could tell the story. Basically, Mother Lavanga, you can tell us the story of what happened.
Gajendra.
Yeah.
I think he went to the river to get a lotus flower for
Yeah.
his wife.
For his wives.
For his wives.
He had many wives. Elephants have many.
I'm totally. I haven't got a good recollection of this.
But
But yes, so
I'm sure you know.
while he was in the water, he got attacked by the crocodile.
And the name of the crocodile, someone can tell us?
Mhm.
Actually, the crocodile's name is not given. Excuse me. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, and so the crocodile had caught I don't know, his leg in his mouth or something, and he had good hold of him. He couldn't get away, and so in distress, he called out for, I think it was Govinda, was it?
Yeah, he spontaneously remembered prayers that he
Oh,
had
yes.
done in his last life
That's
as Indradyumna Maharaj.
Yes, he remembered the prayer and he prayed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a
Yeah.
dramatic. There's quite a few chapters that's dedicated to this pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami goes into great detail describing about the atmosphere, because this was in the heavenly planets. And there's verse after verse that describes the heavenly planets. And it's a wonderful picture that is painted of the heavenly worlds. He describes all the plants, he describes all the birds, he describes, it really sounds attractive. You better watch out if you're reading that. And this elephant, he's the king of the elephants. And he's intoxicated from the honey, from the lotus flowers and the honey. Yeah, and then he's enjoying in the water, spraying water on the other elephants with his trunk, enjoying in that way. And then this crocodile comes. And they're fighting with each other for something like 100 years, something fantastic like that, where the crocodile is in his natural habitat. So as they're fighting, he is getting strength from the water and also from the blood which is issuing out from Gajendra's leg, which is captured in his jaws. But Gajendra is gradually becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. Yeah. And basically it comes to the point where his life is he's about to completely be dragged into the water. And at that last point, in that point of intense distress, then spontaneously Krishna reminds him in the heart of the prayers, and so he offers these prayers. And then Vishnu comes and he takes the head off the crocodile with his Sudan chakra. And the crocodile was also cursed, and he gets reinstated in his position. That's the distressed. And the next one, desire wealth. We've already mentioned it. And Nimai Mata mentioned, I think, Dhruva.
Yeah, Dhruva. Yeah.
Yeah, are you there, Nitai Mata?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, could you tell us the basic of this story? Dhruva after wealth?
Yeah, he went to the forest because he wants the kingdom, taking the instructions of his stepmother, because he was not allowed to sit on the lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the lap of the father, because he was not born to a queen.
Yeah.
And so he decided, okay, so let me go. And even Narada Muni came and said to him, please go back because you are a young boy. But he said, no, I won't. He wasn't happy with his instructions. He continued to pray. So, and then when he saw the Lord, and I think he spoke out because of the conch shell, it kept on his head.
Yeah.
He spoke, and he remembered what to ask. And after that, I hope I'm saying right.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then once he had seen the Lord, his mind changed.
Yeah.
He thought, why am I coming asking for this? There is much better, more than what I need to know and I need to get. And he decided, and that's why, but although he was not happy to get that, but he was granted because Lord was happy with his austerity also. I think that is the reason he was granted that way.
Yeah, very nice description. Yeah, basically he was greatly insulted by his stepmother because, as you know, he went to climb on the lap, and she said, "You was not born from my womb. You have no right to sit on the king's lap. Get off." And it went straight into his heart, being a Kshatriya. Yeah, and he wanted revenge, you could say. And his mother, she admitted, what can be done, my son? How can we overcome this? And she's seen all sages go to God. So he said, we have only one shelter, and that's the Supreme Lord. So he said, Mother, well, where can I find the Supreme Lord? And as far as she could see, to find the Lord, she would see all sages would go to the forest. So he said, well, the sages go to the forest to find the Lord, my son. So off he went. And then the story, as we know, it unfolds, where he wants a kingdom bigger than his grandfather. And anyone know who his grandfather happened to be?
Lord Brahma.
Lord Brahma. Yeah, so he wanted a position higher than Lord Brahma. Yeah. So there's a nice verse which is not in Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada quotes it in the purports there, that he describes. Anyone know, did he take an example that's given of broken glass and a diamond?
Oh,
You know that? He says there's one verse that's spoken in relationship to this.
Yeah, he says something like, I was looking for pieces of broken glass, but now I found a diamond like you.
Yeah, that's it. So he was looking to fill his material desires, which he saw just as looking for just rubbish bits of glass. But now I found the diamond. Yeah. And he offers wonderful prayers, as Nimai Mata said, when especially, well, first of all, he was overcome by great ecstasy. When Lord Vishnu appeared to him, he was overcome and he couldn't utter a word. He was too choked up. He was too overcome with a great ecstasy. So then the Lord touched his head with his conch. And then wonderful prayers of pure appreciation and pure devotion came from Dhruva Maharaj, which Sukadev Goswami recites in the Bhagavatam. Yes. So quite dramatic, isn't it? Quite wonderful stories in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So then we have the inquisitive. This one's not so easy, perhaps, to get. The inquisitive. These are a group of people. Not just,
Yeah, it was the 4 Kamaras.
no, this is the two that get mixed up.
Shaunakarishi.
No,
Shaunakarishi and
that's
others.
it. Yeah.
who-
Yes, that's correct, Mother. Look, it's the sages of Naimin Sharanya.
Namaste.
Yeah. They are known to be very inquisitive. So they ask from Sutta Goswami. Yeah. And then the last one has been mentioned already. Just repeat again. They are the
Okumars.
yeah, I was going to give a clue. There's 4 of them. Yeah, right. So the 4 Kumaras. Now, it's interesting because all of these are actually Jiva Goswami. He explains. He quotes the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. No, the second verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhamma Pajita Kadeva Trapanamo Niyamatsananam Satam. That those who approach Krishna to fulfill material desires are actually cheating. What's the word he uses? No, they are cheaters. And this type of approach to the Lord is disregarded in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Now, what's another word he uses? Dharma Pachita. Yeah. Anyway, so he describes that they're kanishtas. Yeah, they're the lowest. Yeah. So these 4, but a transformation takes place in and they all of these which we mentioned, they come to this here. They all take up pure devotional service. They become transformed. Yeah. So that should happen to us, hopefully. You know, we have different reasons for coming to Krishna, but we should have different reasons for staying. And that is love and devotion. Yeah. Sometimes we see this. I think we spoke about this before when we was reading Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. We actually observe people come, they get, say, materially situated somewhat better than what they was, then they go back out into the material world, you know. They live by principles of sattva. They regularly take bath, they become, you know, well behaved, and they feel happy and they feel content. And with that newfound happiness and contentment, then they go back into the world again, you know. But of course, Krishna's got his eye on them. So more or less all their plans is not going to, I could say Krishna is going to dismantle their plans for material happiness, you know. But any questions or comments on this? Some of these points that we've raised? Point is,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yes,
I was
please.
just saying, is anyone we can remember who came because of distress and inquisitiveness all together? Like I feel like I'm just thinking about myself, and
Yeah.
I just felt, oh my God, especially after my father passed away, I felt like, oh, what is this now? Why like this? I have been to many funerals before and all that. Now what is next? No, I can't figure it out now what I should be doing. And I was in that situation.
Yeah, so
So
there's
I
a
was,
mixture of distress. Yeah, I mean,
so, but it is more than distress. It's like inquisitive. Also, you want to
inquisitive.
find out. It's both together, isn't it, Prabhu?
It is, you could say that, but you're inquisitive because you was distressed, and so you became inquisitive. But having said that, yeah, generally there may be a crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
These these are not like lines in stone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there may well be a crossover where
Yeah.
those who come for one or two reasons, which we mentioned. You know.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So you could come for all four. You're inquisitive. You want knowledge,
Yeah. And also,
wealth,
even you
and
can
you're
be a
suffering.
searcher. Yeah.
So,
You know, that distress may be a trigger, but you are a searcher before. You
yeah.
know, sometimes distress can be a trigger only.
Yeah. So
And
it's
then
like
move.
the,
Yeah.
so it's like the colors of the, it's like the colors in the spectrum. There's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
modes of material nature. There's the different strains and different
Huh.
different strains and different modes and different so. But the idea
And
is that we should change. But this is the idea that through practicing pure devotional service, we have a change of heart. So even, okay, we're coming for wealth, say, for example, one gets nicely situated, but then one reason or another, but it may be that, one gets nicely situated. It may be that Krishna takes things away. That's described in the Bhagavatam as well, and leaves one penniless. But because of love and affection, they maintain their faith in Krishna despite being put into a very difficult situation. So that's only love. That is bhakti. That is devotion. Yeah. But we see many people may come to devotional service, and because they don't hear from devotees, they don't hear about the principles of pure devotional service. So if they don't hear about the principles of pure devotion, then they won't aspire for it. So then they go, but no doubt they're going away with something which is going to put them in good stead, better than someone who hasn't come. So there's no loss, as we've described already in chapter 6. There's no loss of diminution.
And Prabhu, I just thought of another thing came to my thought. Gajendra's situation is like our situation here, because he was very happily playing, enjoying with all of his girlfriends, like all the wives. So yeah, so he never saw any danger, and so this world is also like that.
Yeah,
And
that's a very good point. Yeah.
I was thinking about it, and this world also like that, and because it's very nice, as you described, on the the banks, the trees and everything. It's all good. It's just meant to enjoy, but this didn't happen.
Yeah, then suddenly death comes and snatches you away. There's quotes in the Bhagavad, in the Mahabharata, where death comes and snatches you away before you have picked the flowers, or before you have, or before you have fulfilled your plans for the day or for the week or your desires. Death comes just like, it's quite graphic. Death comes just like a lion suddenly takes away a deer.
Yeah.
So yes, good point. Yeah, we yes. Yeah. Anything else on that? There's something else I was going to mention as well. I just came to mind.
May I ask,
Please, yes.
what does it mean, Kriti? Dushkriti, Sukriti. What is Kriti? Thank you.
Oh, Sukriti means piety. Sukriti. So, for instance, if you so Sukriti, if you want to get material Sukriti, then you may help the old lady across the road. You get Sukriti for that, or you may be benevolent to someone. You get Sukriti for that. You may be charitable to someone in need. You may give shelter to someone who needs shelter. So that's Sukriti. So you get some credits.
Some work. Yes, Kriti is work. To do something.
Yeah, I don't know the Sanskrit breakdown of it exactly, but Sukriti generally means piety. Sukriti means it's got some Sukriti, as far as I understand. Yeah.
It's like
Intake-
benefits you get for doing good stuff. It will
Yeah.
come back to you.
Sukriti, yeah. It's said that if you act dharmically, then Dharma will take care of you. Yeah. So if you act nicely in this world, then you will, then Dharma will take care of you. And then obviously
Yeah.
opposite. If you act in a impious way, then you invoke a certain flavor of the material world, which won't be very pleasant. Yeah, your experience in life will be a troubled one, beset with many setbacks. Like, so that's why Hindu people generally understand this for the most part. So a lot of people, well, not perhaps less as we go on, but they understand these laws of nature. So therefore, they're very careful a lot to act very piously. So some will just come to the temple just because it's a pious thing to do. They don't have devotion as such for Krishna, but they know if they go to the temple, then they'll be pious. They get pious results, and if they get pious results, then their children will get pious results, and they easily come into money.
It's like reap as you sow.
Yeah, as in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Spiritual merit.
Yeah, spiritual merit. Yeah.
Mhm.
So generally, people in the West don't really, they have no faith in the afterlife, let alone the laws of karma. So that's why a lot of people who are not exposed to this Vedic culture or the teachings here in Srimad Bhagavatam, they won't think twice about acting in a wicked way. But anyway, I don't want to go off a tangent here, but there are some people that, there's one philosopher which interesting. He's a clinical psychologist, and he gives lectures, and he's recognized this point that unless you act, he was speaking that unless you act correctly, how the inner nature is guiding you to act in the right way, then you will suffer in this world. So there are some persons who are not Krishna conscious, but they understand how this world works. If you're wicked and you're not pleasant, the same will come back to you. It's the universal eye, or the universal eye of justice. No one is outside the purviews of this universal eye of justice. But not so common. Most persons are just mudhas, and for them, and some people get pleasure even out of being wicked. Yeah. Now these are demons. Demons are persons who feel no compunction, or they feel no regret of being evil to people. Actually, they get a devilish pleasure from it. Now these are demons. Yeah. They feel, they feel, they feel within their psyche, they're getting messages from the Lord within the heart not to do a wicked act. They acknowledge that, and they take pleasure in going directly against it. And they take pleasure in directly going against the inner guide within the heart. These are demons. Yeah. So sometimes you hear of this. I won't go into, I don't want to go into graphic detail. Just one incident where one young man, he was adopted by a lady, by a well-meaning lady, and she brought him up in a loving way, from a young child. And when he got to 18 or 19 years old, then he mercilessly killed her for no reason whatsoever. Yeah. Anyway, I won't go into details. But so them persons, there are very wicked persons. So these are demons. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Right, let's get more positive. Let's. Hare Krishna. Anything else from here? Otherwise, we've got 10 minutes. Let's read the next text, which is going in a more, positive light. Okay, someone could read text 17. think it's a short purport. It's relatively short.
Hi, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Tesam janani nitya yukta eka bhakti visisyate priyohi jananimu ratam am sacha mama priya. Oh,
You can read.
translation. Yes, thank you. Sorry, Prabhu. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotion service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Popat Bashura Popat Jashura Popat. Free from all contaminations of material desires, the distressed, the inquisitive, the penniless, and the seeker of the supreme knowledge can all become pure devotees. But out of them, he who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the four orders, the devotee who is in full knowledge and is at the same time engaged in devotion service is, the Lord says, the best. By searching after knowledge, one realizes that his self is different from his material body. And when further advanced, he comes to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman and Paramatma. When one is fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be the eternal servant of God. So, by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, the seeker after material amelioration, and the man in knowledge, all become themselves pure. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge, oh my God,
Full knowledge of the Supreme Lord.
full knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and he is at the same time executing devotion service is very dear to the Lord. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Supreme Personality of God is so protected in devotion service that material contamination cannot touch him. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. So, yeah, this Tesam Gyani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhakti Vasishyate Pyohi Gyanam Tyadam Aham Sa Cha Mama Priya. So they're the most dear. Because basically they're not looking for generally something, they're not looking for something in return. Yes, but out of them, just the point I wanted to make is that all of the other three, that means the distressed, the seeker of wealth, and he who's inquisitive, they all need, or they will come by the blessings of devotees, come to this platform of being in knowledge. Yeah. And that's what happened with Dhruva, for instance. He was enlightened by Krishna, by Vishnu. So therefore, he came to the platform of full knowledge, and engaged in pure devotional service. Yeah. So he's considered to be, so then they're considered, that's the best place to be in. So in other words, we may come because of distress or one of the other reasons, but we want to be very dear to Krishna, isn't it? Does anyone want to be dear to Krishna? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Although we already are, I think, so according to Krishna. But when we know about Krishna, Krishna will become very dear to us. Yeah. If we have knowledge of Krishna, Krishna will even become more inclined to us. Yeah. The more we are in knowledge of him. It doesn't mean academic knowledge. It doesn't mean how many slokas you learn, then you're more dear to Krishna. It doesn't mean that. It just means that knowledge leads to a specific, if you have knowledge, then you apply that knowledge, then it leads to a specific motivation, a pure motivation for actually serving Krishna. If you have knowledge of Krishna. Yeah. That's why we have, that's why Prabhupada wrote his books, wrote his purports. So the more knowledge we have, the more appreciation of Krishna, then the more dear we can be. Yeah. So Krishna says, of those one who's in full knowledge and who's always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, and I'm very dear to him, and he's very dear to me. So this is not Gyan, this is not knowledge, this is not Gyan. Okay, this is Divya Gyan, which is knowledge about Krishna himself, his name, form, qualities, and pastimes, etc. Yes. Any questions from this? Right, let's have a look. Yeah. Please, yeah.
This is the same. Like in Bhagavad Gita, I think 5th chapter, Krishna says, no, who is conscious of me, in full conscious of me, that he will ultimately he would be beneficiary.
Yeah, last verse. Bhaktaram yakatapasam savalokam heshwaram suradim savabhutanam ganatva mam santim richati. Yeah. You could say that, yeah. You could say one is full conscious of me, knowing me to the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and being a benefactor and being the friend, surit.
Yeah, then he will remove all our material difficulties, peace.
Yeah, very surit. No, I haven't got mine. Let me just. Yeah, that's a nice correlation, Nitai Mata. Nice correlation. I just want to quickly look here because there's an interesting part in Burijan's Surrender Unto Me about this verse, which I was trying to recall. I want to just find it quickly. Quickly, just bear with me 1 minute. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text. Oh, it's gone. Text 17, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
17.
I remember reading this before. It's interesting to read. Okay. So Krishna here tells the Gani, tells us that the Gani is the best because the Gani is free from material desires. The other 3 types of pious souls are also great because they turn to Krishna. But often they leave Krishna's service once their distress is alleviated or their material desires are fulfilled. A Gani's devotional service, however, is steady. He is called Eka Bhakti, interested only in devotional service. It is clear that Krishna has used the term Gani to refer to one who has abandoned his pursuit of Jnana and has turned to Bhakti. Okay, that's the point I wanted to bring out. So that the Gani here refers to one who has abandoned his pursuit of just acquiring knowledge and has turned to devotion. Yeah. Such a Gani loves Krishna and Krishna loves him. In other words, Krishna is not referring to one who practices bhakti to obtain knowledge. Yeah.
No.
That bhakti is mixed. It's Gyan and Mishra, means it's mixed, so it's not pure. So Krishna not referring to one who practices bhakti to obtain knowledge. Srila Baladev Vijayabhushana comments that this type of Gyani, the devotee in knowledge who desires only Krishna's service, right? Nothing else. They only desire to make garlands for Krishna, to cook offerings for Krishna. Yeah. Is so dear to Krishna that the Lord is not satisfied just to characterize him as the best. So he's not just saying he's the best, he says he's very dear to me. After hearing this verse, one may conclude that the 3 Kama Mishra Bhaktas are insignificant and only a Gani is important. But then Krishna in the next verse, we won't have time to cover that, he says, all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. So they're all magnanimous. All of those 4 are magnanimous because they come to Krishna. Okay. All right. So
I just read it,
yeah,
Prabhu, so I just wanted to add. I remembered that and I went and checked 429 also saying, attains peace from the plains of material miseries. And in this verse also ending saying, material contamination cannot touch him.
Yeah, which the 9th chapter? Just begin again. You said, I didn't quite catch the first part you said.
When I check now, at 529, it says, attains peace from pangs of material misery.
Yeah. Attains peace,
And,
pangs of two miseries. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And here also it says material contamination cannot touch him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both places. It
Yeah.
says.
So the reason we are experiencing the pangs of material existence is quite simple, because we forgot Krishna. And if you remember Krishna and you have affection and the love for Krishna, the pangs of material existence will not be able to touch you. Even though you're in the material world, in the place where there are material miseries, because of the joy and love in your heart, then this material world won't get you down because you love Krishna. And Krishna loves you. Yeah. So, all right, let's stop now. Just an announcement here. I'm traveling on Monday. I'll be going to Georgia, south of Russia, for a couple of weeks. Then I'm going to Mayapur. And I'll be in Mayapur until just before Gaura Panim. So that's a few months.
That's a long time.
So definitely. So what I'm going to try and do, probably next week, there probably won't be any readings or classes. Let's see how it goes. But then when things settle down a bit, I'm going to speak with Mother Sandhya, and perhaps we might be able to change the times that we have the readings. Yeah. I would like to continue. We might not be able to continue as much as we are doing, but some way or another, I would like to try and continue. So just bear with us. But next week, so it might be a bit like a half term we have. A half term, but let's see how it goes. I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try and make I'm just in Georgia for 2 weeks. So it depends on the schedule there that I'm on. But I'm going to try and arrange it. If not, when I get to Mayapur, see what my schedule is there and endeavor to have some type of classes. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm going to miss the classes as well. I'm going to try and make sure they continue. Mother Lodja, could you do us a favor? Could you just write your phone number in the chat, and then we can let you know what's going on? Is that okay?
In this chat.
Yeah, on the chat here. You just write it, and then in the recording, it'll be saved. Just write your phone number. Because you're coming every week to the meet, you're coming every reading of Bhagavad Gita. So it's good to inform you what's going on, because you're not on a. Okay. You did that? You can see it?
I'll take a screenshot. I'll take a screenshot of your number and then forward the text to you.
Yeah, great.
Maybe.
You found out how to go in the chat, Mother? Yeah, if you if you hover over the if you bring the bar up, then you got mute, stop video, security. That's it. You can put done it. Okay, it's there. So you got that, Mother Labanga?
It's in the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat. Oh, it's a direct message to me.
Might be private to you, yes.
All right, so no problem. I'm going to copy and paste it, and I've got it here. Okay. All right, so thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. Look
His
forward
Grace
to next
Murli
meeting together.
Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you.
Haribol.
Thank you.
Premanande. Haribol.
Same journey.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Hare.